Movie buffs, welcome back to the Movie Bay. In today's video, we're going to take a look at 10 great prison movies. Now, I got a decent amount of prison movies, but I don't have a ton. I don't have any of the penitentiary movies, the whole penitentiary series. There's quite a few I don't have, but I got 10 really good ones here, so we're going to go ahead and take a look at 10 pretty decent prison movies, some better than others. Some are legendary, some aren't. So let's start with one that's more on the generic side. It's an older one. Came out in 1990, and it's Jean-Claude Van Damme and Death Warrant. Death Warrant wasn't too bad. He was sent to prison undercover to investigate what was going on in this prison. Pretty generic, but it was okay for the time. Jean-Claude Van Damme's Death Warrant. This came out in 1990. Now we're going to move into something a little. Now I got some of these movies, I will consider these to be like hard-nosed prison movies. And then you got some that's not. Like, this isn't really a hard-nosed prison movie. It isn't. But then you got the next one. This is a hard-nosed, in-your-face prison movie. But the thing about this particular movie, like most prison movies, is the whole movie doesn't take place in the prison. There's generally a lead-up in the outside world that leads up to the rest of the movie. Probably the first half or first quarter of the movie is not done in prison, or even the last half or last quarter isn't. But the prison scenes might come. They generally come later in the movie. But this one is one where the prison scenes come later in the movie, and it's kind of like in the middle, because there's portions after. I'm done rambling. American History X. Edward Norton gave a performance in this movie, in my opinion, was just, man, I mean, I had to step back. Like, this right here is insane. The way he played his role, the way, man, Edward Norton had me looking at him with the side eye like, yo, what's going on? But anyway, American History X came out in 1999. It's all about, movie is about race. And, I guess the Nazi movement, or whatever the hell they call neo-Nazis, Nazis. It was all about that. Edward Norton was like a leader, like a high ranker in this. I don't even know if it was a gang, what the hell they call those things, Clavering. And he basically killed a couple of dudes. He shot one, he curb stomped the other one. I think he killed a couple of them. I'm not sure. It's been a while since I've seen this, but he killed a couple black dudes. He went to prison, and he got what he got in prison, and he came out a different person. I'll say that. This is a good movie, but it's a hard watch. It's a good movie, but it's a hard watch, because it's some scenes in here that's intense. This got a lot of intense scenes of violence. That curb stomp, then there's some scenes in the prison. You know what goes on in the prison. Some of those scenes was pretty intense, so this is a hard one. This is a hard body, in your nose prison movie. Hard nose, did I say hard nose in your nose? Hard nose in your face prison movie. Next up, we got two classics on the same. I got this 2-film collection, but both these movies are going to be on this list. So we're going to start with 1994's The Shawshank Redemption, where I would say damn near the whole movie take place in Shawshank. You do see a few scenes where you got, in the beginning, where you see Andy in his car drinking with the revolver. Then you got the scenes where the old guy, I forget his name, Brooks. Yeah, Brooks, he gets out and he doesn't adjust well. Then you got the very end where Morgan Freeman, he gets out. After Andy escapes, he gets out and he finds Red. So, but the majority of this movie do take place in prison. Shawshank Redemption is probably, if not the best prison movie ever made, probably. And I'm saying that because there's a lot of movies on this list, but there's a lot of prison movies. But as far as the acclaim, this is probably the most critically acclaimed prison movie ever. When this movie first came out, it wasn't received no way near as it become over the years. Universal Soldier beat this movie in the box office, so that tells you a little something right there. And if you watch Shawshank right now and you watch Universal Soldier right now, Shawshank just holds up way better. Universal Soldier looks very generic by today's standard. Now, so basically in Shawshank Redemption, Tim Robbins, Andy Dufresne, was framed for murder. Now, it didn't really look like he was framed for murder. It looked like he did it. But you don't find that out till like halfway through the movie. And the warden went through great lengths to cover that up. The warden was dirty. There's so many great lines in this movie, so many great quotes in this movie. It is a banging movie. It's a little bit long, about a 3-hour watch, maybe 3 hours and a few minutes. Next, we have The Green Mile with Tom Hanks and Michael Clark Duncan, John Coffey, only spelled different. This was a fantastic movie. Now, I'm going to say The Green Mile is a movie to take place on the Green Mile, which is in a prison. But the movie, to me, that wasn't the focus. Like in Shawshank, the prison that was the focus of the movie and what went on in that prison. But this was more based on John Coffey. John Coffey was, I do believe he was like a he was gifted one of God's special people, and he had the gift to heal people. But when he healed people, he didn't just get rid of it, he took it into himself, and it made him weaker until I guess he was able to get rid of it. But he was, framed for a murder that he clearly didn't commit. And Tom Hanks, he couldn't stop the execution. They even went to the warden, and he healed the warden's wife. And the warden, this was back at a time where race relations was just trying to get a black guy off of a murder charge that people was convinced that he did. That wasn't going to work. Even if they had indisputable proof that he didn't do it, they still wanted blood. They wanted a pound of flesh. But Tom Hanks was cursed because I guess he couldn't stop it. He was cursed with really, really, really long life. The little rat, Mr. Jingles, he also was cursed with long life. I'm not sure why the hell he was cursed. Why'd the rat get cursed? But anyway, Mr. Jingles and Tom Hanks was cursed with really long life, and this movie was sad. This whole movie was sad. You might need a bucket to watch this one. Shawshank got a couple moments where to soften you up, but nothing crazy. I don't think nothing to bring tears to your eyes. Both of these movies is banging. Now, that was 2 movies, guys, so forgive me for rambling on that one. That was 2. Next up, we got one. This is more hard. This is more of the, neither one of these are like hard-nosed prison movies. But this one here, this is a hard-nosed, in-your-face prison movie. And this is I'm getting ready to say 1999. 2017, Cell Block on 99. I was going to say 1999. Cell Block 99 with Vince Vaughn. Now, Vince Vaughn is an actor who I've grown to appreciate over the years. Vince Vaughn, a lot of his earlier stuff was comedies, and I'm not really a comedy dude like that, and I wasn't really, it's certain like comedic actors I don't like, and then a lot of people do. So you got to be a certain comedic actor for me to take to you, and Vince Vaughn wasn't. But Vince Vaughn, his more serious stuff, his dramas, his movies like this, I like. And I love seeing Vince Vaughn in roles like this. This is probably, and a lot of people will say the same thing, this is probably the best performance Vince Vaughn ever gave, period, out of all his stuff. Whether it's his serious stuff, whether it's comedic stuff, Vince Vaughn gave a performance in this one, probably the best performance in his career. Cell Block in 90, Brawl in Cell Block 99. That trips me up. So, great movie. Next up, we got 1989's Lockup with Sylvester Stallone and Donald Sutherland. This is not a hard-nosed, in-your-face prison movie. This is just a prison movie. It had some fight scenes and stuff in it, but it wasn't nothing crazy going on in here. It wasn't the normal stuff that goes on prisons. You know what I'm talking about. It wasn't a lot of that going on. It was none of that going on, actually. This was more of an action movie than anything else. But it was still a decent movie. Stallone's performance was great, and Sutherland's performance is always on point. Good movie. Okay, the next one here, guys. 1992. This one right here, this is also Edward James Olmos' directorial debut. He also starred in the movie. Just a fantastic prison movie. Now, this is hard-nosed, in your face. This is American Me. American Me, this movie right here, it shows the prison. This is about the Hispanic experience with prisons. This is a fantastic movie. This is hard-nosed. This is gritty. This has got great acting, a lot of talent in front of and behind the camera on this one. This is a gritty prison movie. This one is banging. I'm telling you, you need to check this one out. Some of the prison scenes in here is fucking intense. I'm telling you. American Me. Edward James Olmos, fantastic job in front of the camera and behind the camera. Fantastic movie. I'm telling you, check this one out. Next up, this one is definitely not hard-nosed. This is one of the fewer prison movies that got a lot of comedy to it. But I think the way they did the comedy in this one, the seriousness and the comedy is what made this movie so different and such a good movie. And this is Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence in Life. This was a really good movie. It didn't bring you down and it didn't take you up too high. It kept you kind of in the middle because for every serious moment, there was a good comedic moment. This was a great movie. And everything, I think the timing and the chemistry between Martin and Murphy was incredible. Bernie Mac, you had just a great cast in here. A lot of black comics at the time was in this movie. Fantastic. I mean, I love this movie. It had some sad moments to it because the whole movie, these guys didn't do it. It was crazy, but it was, and like the soundtrack for this, the music that's available for this movie, if you got a streaming service like probably most of you do, you need to go ahead and stream the soundtrack for this. There's some really great songs on the soundtrack for this movie. It's called Life. And Life came out in 1999. Yeah. Next up, this just was, we just talked about this next title, and I think it was the last or second to the last underrated movies video I did. It's truly an underrated movie, but it's a good movie. A couple of these might be underrated too. I think American Me, a lot of people don't know about that one. I'm quite sure that's not a well talked about movie, but it's a great movie. American Me is a banger. But anyway, The Last Castle from '01. Robert Redford, James Gandolfini, Mark Ruffalo. It's a great cast. Delroy Lindo. It's some great talent in here. It's a great story. If you want to know more about this one, you can watch that video. But basically, Robert Redford is a disgraced officer who disobeyed orders and got men in his command killed. And he was sentenced to the castle. Fantastic movie. Next up, we got probably, I want to say this is probably the best movie here. Outside of like Shawshank, but I'm like far as like hard-nosed, hard-body prison movies, I'm going to say Bound by Honor, Blood In, Blood Out. And what makes this movie so different than all the rest of these movies is how much of this movie is just split up into different segments. You got the segment before the prison. You got the segments where you're showing the one brother, the detective, his life as a cop. Then you got the other brother who is a drug addict, but also an artist, his recovery, how the little baby brother who's not in this picture was killed because he was careless and left drugs out. Just so many different things going on in this movie. It's like it's over 3 hours, but so many different things going on in this movie. It's crazy how much stuff is going on in this movie and how it all ties together to this prison. And man, everybody gave just a wonderful performance in this movie. I can't say it enough. If you've never seen Blood In, Blood Out, Bound by Honor, you need to check this one out. It's a banger. It's long. You're going to dedicate a little time to this movie, and you're going to invest yourself in this movie. But the way this movie just comes together, it's crazy. I can't say enough good things about this movie. So out of all these movies, which one would I recommend you watch first out of all of these? That's tough because there's some good ones here. I mean, I could recommend any of these for you to watch first, but I'm going to try to pick one that I think you didn't watch. And I'm going to say watch it first. Now, not to say that any of these don't watch, but if I got to say you need to watch any of these first, I'm going to say American Me. Now, I'm not saying that's the best one, but I'm saying this is one that I think probably some people didn't really know too much about. Check out American Me if you want a hard-nosed prison movie. Now, if you don't want a hard-nosed prison movie, you just want a good watch, you couldn't go wrong with either Shawshank or The Green Mile. But those are like really mainstream titles. I'm quite sure all of you seen that one, seen both of those, and got both of those in your collections. So that's it. That's 10 really good prison movies. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.